What's up, fight fans, and welcome back to another KJ MMA show. I am Ryan. He is Garrett, and this Saturday we have a great UFC card. It's UFC Orlando. There are 15 fights on the docket for you. And Garrett, as always, let's start with the main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Kevin Holland, and this really is an intriguing bout at welterweight. Kevin Holland has been looking pretty good since he made the move down to 170, but now he's going up against one of the better fighters in the division for a very long time. Albeit, Stephen is a little bit older now, and Holland is, I would say, in the middle of his prime. How do you see this fight going? The odds right now have Holland as the favorite, minus 170 to Thompson at 145 plus.
Oh man, it's tough because I think on the feet, even though Thompson is still getting up there in age, and I think he's lost a step, but it's still Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's still one of the elite strikers at 170 pounds. Kevin Holland, obviously, he's still a great striker in his own right, but he was getting tagged against Cowboy Oliveira at 170. So that doesn't bode well against an elite striker like Stephen Thompson. And he's fighting him for 25 minutes. If I'm not mistaken, this may be Holland's first 25-minute fight. I don't remember off the top of my head. Sorry, everybody. But I believe it's his first 25-minute fight. Stephen Thompson has been there before. He's got the cardio to go 25 minutes. And if Holland thinks he's just going to go out there and knock out Thompson, I don't see that happening. He's going to have to go in there and utilize some grappling exchanges. But I think Thompson is a lot better than people give him credit for in the grappling. Yes, he got taken down and controlled in one of his previous losses against Gilbert Burns, but that is Gilbert Burns. We're talking about a BJJ world champion. It took a lot for Burns to be able to get him down and keep him down. I don't expect Holland to be able to utilize the same type of grappling that Burns was able to. I think Thompson, is going to beat the one winning rounds if it stays on the feet. So I think I'll have to take the dog shot here on Thompson to get it done via decision.
I'm actually with you 100%. I think Thompson gets it done by decision. I feel like he's going to be able to execute his game plan throughout the 5 rounds and get the win here via UD. Co-main event, RDA, Brian Barberena. RDA minus 550 favorite, Barberena plus 400 dog. I mean, massive difference there. Do you feel like Barberena has any shot of getting the W here?
I don't. I really don't. RDA may have lost a step. He's also getting up there in age, just like Thompson. But Barberena, he's just a brawler. He looked good in the Lawler fight because Lawler does what he does. He brawls with you. But Lawler was winning that fight early on until, he got cracked in round 2 and started to fade. But RDA, he's going to utilize his grappling. He's going to be able to take Barberena down. I mean, Jason Witt was able to take him down and control him. So I'm expecting RDA to be able to do the same and possibly get a submission win here. I would not suggest playing RDA at minus 550 because that's a little crazy, but ultimately I think he gets the job done, probably gets the sub inside 2 rounds.
It's one of those fights too where he's such a massive favorite that it's tough to want to take that risk. I mean, I fully expect RDA to win, but yeah, that's significant difference with the favorite versus the dog here. Now we'll move to 125, Schnell and Nicolau. Schnell is a big dog here, plus 315. I know Nicolau, he's a young, hungry prospect, and I think he probably deserves to be the favorite, but minus 380, is that accurate? Do you feel like there you can win some money on Schnell here as a dog?
I bet on Schnell in his last fight against Sumadarji. I took him by sub against Sumadarji, and then he cashed out. That was one of the craziest wins that you will ever see. If you have not seen that, go back and watch it. It was the craziest fight. It was bananas. I just think this is a really bad matchup for Schnell. I think Schnell's got, a little bit more pop to his strikes, and I think he's more of a submission threat than Nicolau, but Nicolau's just so damn good everywhere. He's super technical. I don't see many holes in his game. I think Nicolau could beat Schnell arguably anywhere on the mat. And I think Nicolau puts him away inside 2 rounds via TKO because Schnell gets hit often. He gets hurt, he gets dropped, and he gets finished. So I'm expecting Nicolau to put him away. And I like him inside the distance.
Interesting bout right there. I feel like we could see some good moments out of Schnell, but yeah, I'm not mad at that. I feel like Nicolau probably should get his hand raised there in that 125-pound bout. Now, let's move to a really interesting fight with the big boys. Tai Tuivasa, Sergey Pavlovich. Tuivasa is the underdog here, plus 185. We saw what he did against Cyril Gane. Man, I thought for a second there he was going to get Gane out of there, which would have been a shocker to a lot of people, but I think it just shows the evolution of Tai Tuivasa's game game to be able to hang in there against such a dangerous, well-rounded fighter like Ciryl Gane. Pavlovich keeps racking up wins. He had a most recent one over Derek Lewis. Is he deserved to be the favorite here? Do you feel like he should get the win? I mean, what are your thoughts on this matchup?
I played Pavlovich at minus 180 earlier in the week. I think that was a good line. Now it's getting a little bit out of hand, minus 215, minus 225 across the board. We know Tuivasa has deadly power. And he can knock out anybody at any given time with just one punch. But when it comes to abilities and who's the better striker, I got to go with Pavlovich. Pavlovich also has the height and the reach advantage. I think Pavlovich is also one of the more technical strikers in the division. He's arguably one of the best kickboxers in the division next to someone like Ciryl Gane, who's arguably the best kickboxer in the division. And then also Tuivasa is coming back from getting brutally beaten just 3 months ago. And that's never a good thing. You never want to, I personally don't want to bet on a guy that just got knocked out just 3 months ago and is going against another heavy hitting knockout artist in Sergey Pavlovich. That's only drawback. If maybe Tuivasa had more time to prepare and to heal, I think the line would be a little bit different and I would sway a little bit more towards Tuivasa. But ultimately, I got Pavlovich knocking Tuivasa out probably in the first round.
Woo, okay. Well, I can't wait for that one. I'm actually just going to stay away from it from a betting aspect because I got a lot of respect for both of them. And in the heavyweight division with so much power, you just never really know. But it just takes one. That's all it takes. Speaking of power, Roman Dolidze is back in action off another big win most recently. And now he's taking on Jack Hermansson. Hermansson's the favorite here, minus 175. Dolidze is the dog, plus 150. I feel like this fight's going to go one of two ways, Garrett. Either Hermansson's going to win a decision, unless he gets lucky. He could sub him. But I don't think he's knocking Roman Dolidze out. He could sub him, but I either expect Hermansson to win a decision here or Dolidze to find that KO button and put Hermansson out. How do you see this fight? What's the smart play from a betting aspect?
I'm pretty confident in Hermansson getting the job done. Hermansson's definitely durable. He's faced elite strikers at 185. He normally does not get finished. I don't think Dolidze is an elite striker in any shape or form. I don't think he's got the one-hitter quitter at all either. He's a decent grappler. He's got good power. But, I mean, he beat Kyle Dawkins and he beat Phil Hawes. And now we're here on short notice, on a week's notice, to be a perennial contender at 185 pounds. A guy that's been in there with the best of the best. This is kind of like the same type of fight Chris Curtis had. Chris Curtis came in as a slight underdog in that spot. And then Hermansson showed that there's levels to this. He beat him on the feet. He beat him in the grappling. Hermansson's going to beat Dolidze on the feet. And he's going to beat him in the grappling. I think Hermansson's definitely the better striker. If Hermansson can beat Chris Curtis in the striking, he can beat Dolidze in the striking. I don't think Dolidze is a better striker than Chris Curtis, and I definitely don't think he's a better striker than Hermansson. So I'm pretty confident Hermansson gets another dub and keeps his winning streak going.
All right, taking the Joker to the bank. Now, speaking of Kyle Dawkins, he's back in action against Eric Anders. Anders is the dog here, plus 190. Dawkins is the favorite, minus 225. I just really like this matchup stylistically for Dawkins. I think that he might even sub Anders. I know Anders is pretty good on the ground. He's a veteran, but if I'm just going to be honest, I feel like his best days are behind him. I think Dawkins gets back in the winning column here. I'm going to say a decision, but I wouldn't be shocked if he gets him out of there via sub and maybe the third.
I'm still trying to figure out why Eric Anders is still in the UFC at this point. He's been pretty trash as of late. It is what it is. Dawkins is just a bad matchup for him. Bigger, longer, much better grappler of the two. I think he could just absolutely dominate him on the mat, in the wrestling, in the grappling. And like you said, he could possibly submit him. I think he gets it done inside the distance, probably a second round submission. I just don't like Eric Anders. I mean, all he does is he doesn't put combinations together and he tries to stall against the cage. I don't expect that to be the recipe for success against someone like Kyle Dawkins. So give me Kyle Dawkins via submission round 2.
I think Dawkins is excited to get back in there and kind of right that wrong from his last fight, the loss to Dolidze there, where essentially he got his face broken. So, he's going to be hungry to get back in there and get a win. All right, Nico Price, Phil Rowe. That's going to be the main event of your undercard of the prelims. Nico Price is a minus 140 favorite. Phil Rowe, a plus 120 dog. man, it's been a minute since we've seen Nico Price back in the cage. Is he the rightful favorite? Do you think he gets the win?
I feel like I'm going to take a shot on Phil Rowe here as a slight dog. I think, he's definitely got a lot of power on the feet. He's progressed a ton in his striking. He's coming off back-to-back knockouts. He's super tall, super long for the division, and he's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's very well-versed everywhere, and I feel like this could be Phil Rowe's coming out party. Getting a signature win over a staple, in the welterweight division in Nico Price, I think it's going to show his true colors, show that he really belongs to be in the UFC. Granted, he didn't fight great competition coming in. He beat Jason Witt, one of the Cosce brothers as well. Okay wins, but if you could get a signature win over Nico Price, all right, so his name is going to be on the map. So I'm taking Phil Rowe here. I think he gets the job done, and I like him as a dog here, plus 120.
All right, Angela Hill, Emily Ducati. Hey, do you ever listen to Angela Hill on Sirius XM radio?
No. If you tell me the radio station, I will, because I actually just got Sirius XM, so I will tune in.
It's Fight Nation. They have a few MMA shows back to back. It usually starts around like 12 o'clock. But I asked that just because, have you ever heard her laugh? She sounds just like Fran Drescher.
No.
You haven't?
No.
Okay. You're going to have to check that out and let me know if I'm crazy or if you think I'm onto something here. But regardless, this is an interesting bout here. Ducati's the favorite, minus 125. Angela Hill, the dog, plus 105. It's essentially almost a pick 'em. It's very close. And I was a little surprised because I feel like Angela Hill, she's big for the division. She's a veteran. She's well-rounded. Is this line accurate, or should Hill be the favorite here?
I think it should be a pick 'em. I think it's lined about accurate. It's minus 120, plus 105. That seems about accurate. I'm taking Ducati here just because she's been my cash cow as of late. She came in and she starched what's her name in her debut. I know it's a big difference in competition, but Ducati shows that she's very well rounded. She's got power in her hands. She's got debilitating freaking leg kicks. You look what she did in her last fight. I think those leg kicks are going to come in handy big time against Hill, who utilizes a ton of movement. If she utilizes those calf kicks early and often, that movement is going to teach her very, very fast. I don't think by time halfway to round two, she's going to be a stationary target. Plus, I think Ducati is the better wrestler of the two, so she can mix it up a little bit. I think she's going to put on a good performance and show that she should have been in the UFC for a while now. I've been watching her over Invicta, just absolutely wrecking people. I mean, I forgot her name, Danielle. If you've seen that knockout, that was one of the most brutal knockouts you'll see in women's MMA, where she had a head kick and then she knocked her out on her feet, and then she had a head kick while she was still out on her feet. It was absolutely brutal. But yeah, I'm taking Ducati here to get the job done and really put her name on the map.
All right, that'd be a big win over a veteran like Angela Hill, very well-known fighter. Speaking of well-known fighters, Clay Guida, 40-year-old Clay Guida. How much does he have left in the tank? The last time we saw him, he lost to Claudio Puelles in the first round via knee bar. He's the dog here, almost plus 150 against Scott. Hot Sauce Holtzman, minus 170 favorite. Does the veteran Guida get his hand raised, or is he going to be kind of riding off into the sunset at some point soon?
Please, guys, don't bet on this fight. There's no reason to be betting on Scott Holtzman and Clay Guida in the year 2022. I mean, they're both on their last legs. Scott Holtzman is minus 170 against another living, human, breathing person on this planet. No, I don't care if it's Clay Guida. You do not bet Scott Holtzman at that price, nor do you bet Clay Guida either in 2022. I mean, neither one of these guys are showing me that you could trust them with your money. Guida getting knee barred in his last fight, that was atrocious to watch. And then Holtzman, yeah, he's faced elite competition in his last two, but he hasn't fought in 20 months, and he's coming off back-to-back knockout losses. No, stay far away from this fight. But if you want to bet, I feel like it's a dog or pass situation. I feel like you have to go with the Carpenter Clay Guida. There's just no possible way you can lay the juice on Holtzman over anybody right now. Yes, he may get the job done, but at the end of the day, it's going to be a close fight. We know Holtzman doesn't have great takedown defense. Guida, even though he doesn't have the best takedown offense, but he can still get the job done. He can take it to the mat, and then I think Guido could possibly win this. But come on, guys. I mean, it's 2022. Let's not bet on Clay Guido or Scott Holtzman.
Okay, so stay away, says the fight analyst. Let's keep it moving. Michael Johnson, Mark Diakese. Look, there was a point in time where I thought that Michael Johnson could be a potential title challenger, but that was a very, very long time ago. He's lost 5 of his last 6 fights. He's a plus 250 dog going against Mark Diakese here, who's the minus 300 favorite. I don't think you need to really overthink this one too much. I'm very, very confident that Diakese gets the win here. If he doesn't finish him, it's going to be a unanimous decision. I think you can take this to the bank. It's one of my more confident picks on the card.
Yeah, Mark Diakese definitely should get the job done. I mean, he's looked good. You know, he had a little bit of stumbling after coming in hot and heavy. You know, he stumbled a little bit, but he got right back on track. He beat a much better fighter in, Slava Claus in his last fight, a much more dangerous striker. He was able to nullify that by takedowns, top control, and just grinding him out. Something he can definitely do to Michael Johnson. Why? Because Michael Johnson still, what is he, 20-plus fight veteran in the UFC, still has not gotten better in his takedown defense. I don't know what the hell he's been doing all this time, but wrestling is definitely not one thing he's been doing. And then he also didn't look good against Alan Patrick. He was fading. He got rocked in that fight. I thought that was going to be an easy win, and then I was sweating bullets because this dude almost gets knocked out by Alan Patrick. Not good, guys. I got Mark Diakese getting a signature win, arguably one of the better wins of his career, going against a bona fide veteran in Michael Johnson. So yeah, give me Diakese. He should get job done. I like putting him in a bunch of parlays. I got him at minus 275 earlier in the week.
All right, well, we're both in agreement there. JSP, Jonathan Pierce and Darren Elkins up next. JSP, massive favorite, minus 450. Elkins, plus 350 dog. Elkins is a dog. Like he goes into a fight to just bang it out and to make sure that his opponent leaves with some blood, some scratches, some lumps. Like he always brings the fight, which is what I love about him. But I feel like we've seen with Jonathan Pierce recently, a 4-fight win streak, very well run. And if it goes to the ground, he's a problem. And I feel like that's ultimately what's going to happen. This is going to hit the ground. He's going to catch Elkins in something. And he's going to sub him up. I don't know what round, but I do like JSP. But with the line, minus 450, it's hard to win some money on that, but I don't really feel like you should bet a lot of money on Elkins with the plus 350 dog.
No, we've seen that Elkins is definitely on his last legs. He's on his way out. He's, we know that he's super tough, super durable, but I mean, come on, guys. I mean, like I said, it's 2022. This man, you're not going to bet on Darren Elkins in the year 2022, even if he's a big dog. JSP, he's pretty massive for 145. He's going to be a lot bigger than Elkins in this matchup. He's going to be a lot stronger. I think he's pretty much got him covered in every facet of the game. He's a better striker. He's a better grappler, better wrestler, fighting out of fight ready. He's getting in the quality wrestling over there with Mark Madsen and Cejudo and all those guys. So, yeah, get me JSP. I like him to win inside the distance, which is minus 115, minus 105 all the way up to minus 115. You can cut out a lot of the juice. Him to win by decision is plus 180. I feel like he could finish Elkins. Elkins does get finished, and I think JSP is going to go in there and do work.
Yeah, could be 5 wins in a row for Jonathan Pierce. Exciting prospect on his way up. Tracy Cortez, Amanda. It's Ribas, right? It's not Ribas. The R is silent. So Amanda Ribas. And this is essentially a pick'em fight here. What's the smart play? Who do you think is going to win this one, Garrett?
I'm waiting to bet Amanda Ribas at plus money. I feel like a lot of people are going the Cortez route and betting her. So I'm kind of waiting on the line a little bit to see where it goes. Right now it's dipping down. She was a little bit of a bigger favorite and the money's coming in on Cortez. So I'm waiting a little bit. But yeah, I got Ribas in this matchup. I think, we know Ribas has definitely fought the better competition. Ribas is a BJJ black belt. She's never been subbed in her career as a professional mixed martial artist. And if we've seen what beats Ribas, it's definitely not grapplers. She's faced elite grapplers. We're talking Verna Jandiroba, who is a BJJ world champion, and Mackenzie Dern, who is arguably the best women's grappler in all of mixed martial arts. And she was able to nullify the grappling from both of them. And the only people that really have been beating her are women that are elite strikers. I mean, Caitlin Chikagian was able to beat her, and that was an extremely close fight. And Chikagian was only landing 27% of her strikes on the feet. Ribas is actually a lot better than people give her credit for on the feet, too. She's only absorbing less than 2.6 strikes per minute. Her opponents are landing 30% of their strikes or less against her in every single fight. The only person that really did well against her was Marina Rodriguez. There you go. That's the only one that really did well, against her on the feet. I think Hibas definitely wins this fight. I think Cortez is not a good striker. We know what she's going to do. She's going to go in there. She's going to wrestle, top control, ground and pound, possibly get a submission. Cortez is a very good wrestler, but we've seen her get out scrambled at times. Melissa Gatto had her moments. She got her into precarious positions on the mat as well. If Gatto was one to get up off those scrambles instead of trying to play guard and play the submission game, she probably would have won the fight because she was winning the fight on the feet as well. I feel like this is going to be that type of fight. Hibas is going to be able to defend the takedowns, which she has, I think, 86% takedown defense. If she does get taken down, she'll get back up, and where Hibas is definitely going to be the better fighter of the two on the feet. So give me Hibas. I'm waiting a little bit. Give me her a plus money, and I'm pretty confident. I'm fading Tracy Cortez here.
All right, Amanda. The R is silent. Hibas for the win. Natan Levy, Gennaro Valdez. Interesting lightweight bout here. Both of these guys are still fairly young in their career. Levy 7-1. Valdez 10-1. Levy is the favorite, minus 185. Valdez plus 160. Is there dog money here, or do you expect Levy to get another win?
I expect Levy to get another win. I'm not reluctant to pay a premium of minus 185 on him, but he's shown that he's got promise. He's a very good wrestler, and he does well at distance too, utilizing a lot of the kicking game. Even though Valdez is more of a brawler, we've seen that in his last fight, and he got knocked out cold. I don't expect him to be able to utilize that brawler mentality, because if he does, he's going to get taken down over and over and over again. So I'm expecting Levy to go in there, utilize his grappling, and possibly either get the sub or a decision win.
All right, Francis Marshall, Marcel Rojo here, and Rojo is the dog plus 135, Marshall minus 156 favorite. Interesting one here, and I'm intrigued to see how it goes, because Rojo obviously a lot more of experience. Marshall, we just saw what he did at Contender Series to get into the UFC. A very dominant win over Connor Matthews, a guy that I know pretty well. He's up in my neck of the woods here in New England. So that was really impressive to do that to Connor Matthews for the duration of that fight and get a win. I have to imagine, just based on what I saw in that fight, the game plan would be to do the same thing against Rojo here. The question is, can Rojo stuff takedowns? Can he keep it on the feet? That's the question about this fight. I don't know the answer. I interviewed Marcel leading up to this fight. He's fully confident he's going to win, but I just don't know. We haven't seen enough about Marshall. Rojo doesn't have the greatest record. So to me, this is a fight to just stay away from.
I'm betting on Marcelo Rojo, and I got him at plus 145. I think it was yesterday or the day before. You're talking about Francis Marshall. Yeah, he looked on the Contender Series, but he went against an extremely inexperienced fighter in Connor Matthews, who's a jiu-jitsu fighter who was tagging him on the feet. So on the feet, I don't think it's going to be even remotely close. Let's put it that way. We've seen what Rojo was able to do in the Jourdain fight. He was fucking up Jourdain for like 2 rounds until he got caught in that 3rd round and, eventually got finished. But like Rojo's fought like elite competition over his time. I mean, look at his last two fights. Kyler Phillips at 135 and then Charles Jourdain on short notice at 145. Rojo's got some power. He's got some power. He's got nasty calf kicks as well. Marshall is very hittable on the feet. Marshall is very, very green in his striking as well. He doesn't really throw a lot of combinations. It's just 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Doesn't throw any kicks. So he's very boxing centric. Rojo utilizes a lot of switching stances. It's not going to be easy for Marshall to be able to just go in there and just shoot for takedowns. This is also a bigger cage, which also helps Rojo utilize his movement and being able to stay off the fence. He's the one that's going to be the aggressor coming forward as well. And then you also think about Marshall is 6-0 at 23 years old, coming in his debut in a packed arena against a guy that has over 4 times the amount of experience against much, much better competition. Give me Rojo here as the dog. I think we're getting good value because he's 0-2, but he's 0-2 against elite competition, and Marshall is not that.
Okay, well, we'll see. Interesting bout right there. One more fight to go. Estela Nunez, Yasmin Jauregui minus 310 favorite. Nunez plus 260 dog. I'll be honest, Garrett, I don't know enough about either one of these ladies to really make an educated bet. So hopefully you do.
Definitely not betting on this fight, considering the line is minus 305 and Nunes is plus 260. But I think Yasmin gets the job done. I think she looked good in her UFC debut. She's got a lot of promise. And, the UFC is doing what they got to do to kind of, get her another good win under her belt and make her look good and, and promote her because, she is an attractive woman and she's a good fighter. So give her some good wins and then let her keep moving herself up. Let her build her following, and we'll see what she does when she gets some good competition. But at the end of the day, Yasmin gets the job done for sure.
Well, one thing we know for sure is the UFC knows how to market their fighters. The promotion just keeps growing and growing, getting bigger and bigger. That does it for you MMA fans out there for this show, UFC Orlando. All 15 fights in under 30 minutes as always. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel VegasOdds, and we will see you guys back here next week for UFC 282.